Hey everyone, welcome to When Pigs Shall Fly, which is my entry for BoardGameGeek's 5th design contest for roll and write games. When Pigs Shall Fly is a family weight dice drafter for 2 or more players, taking about 30 to 45 minutes to play. In this video I'm going to give you a brief rules introduction and a run through of the game to kind of give you an idea on how to play. And a quick disclosure before we begin, this is still a work in progress, so definitely the artwork and some of the rules may change in the future. So if anything major changes though, I will make sure to update the video. Now, to set the stage, we are all farmers. In the early days of aviation, prior to the Wright brothers or modern airplanes or anything, and our city is holding a contest to see if anyone can build a flying machine. Now we've all entered, and we hope to utilize the skills and assets that are available to us as farmers to our advantage. So for the majority of the game, we're going to be preparing for that contest. This is kind of the contest prep side of our player sheet. And at the end of the game, we're going to flip over our player sheet. And here, we're going to try and fly our plane as far as we can, or flying contraption, whatever you want to call it, as far as we can, and see how well we did. Now, being farmers though, we don't have any idea how flight actually works, so we're going to have to do our research. We have the research area on our player sheet. To try and figure out how flight works, we're going to have to design a craft. We're going to have to engineer its materials so it doesn't weigh too much, and we're going to have to train our pig to fly it. The pig will be our pilot. So, throughout the game we're picking up points for some of these actions, depending on how well we did, and at the end of the game the player with the most points wins. So are you ready? Alright, let's get started. So, in terms of setup, we have the game here set up for 3 players. My camera's not able to record that very well, 3 players, so I have kind of player 2 and player 3. And I'm mostly going to be showing you what player 1, which is me, is going to be doing. So, but we do have 3 dice here, because there are 3 players. We have the community board over here, laid out, so that everybody can see it. And on the community board we have 4 flight theory cards. Now I've already mixed these up randomly, shuffled them, and laid them out. I don't know what is under these cards. Also, we give the lead player to whoever you want, and that person will start the game as lead player. Everybody's got a player sheet. Everybody's also has a blocked token here. And that's it. Everybody has a pencil ready to write, and we're off. So to begin the game, we start in the contest prep phase. So, in the contest prep phase, we're going to play about 10 to 12 rounds, in which each person will have a dice to spend on their player board. And at the end of the contest prep phase, we're going to move into the Finalize design phase. From there, it's like contest, and then final story. So that's kind of the basic structure of the game. The majority of the game is the flight contest, the contest prep. So let's begin. First round of the contest prep phase. So the lead player, we have a little round order on your player sheet to remind you. The lead player is going to roll the dice here. We're going to mark off time, check for publicity events or phase end, and then we're going to take your action die and your publicity, use it on the main action, possibly earn some whistles, move the block token, and then cast the lead player token. So I'll run through these in detail on this first round, and probably kind of speed walk through the rest of them. So lead player is me. I'm going to roll my dice. I have a 1, a 4, and a 1. Now I can't choose now how to place these. I'm going to place them on this dice ladder in a certain prescribed order. So the order is you take your largest value of the dice, in this case the 4, that goes on the bottom of the ladder, this dice ladder on the community board here. No matter what the value is, if it's a 2, and that's the largest value, that will go down here. So I have a 4, and then from there you count up for the rest of the dice. So you would count 4, 3, 2, 1. So if I had any 3s or 2s, they would go here. 1s are going here. I rolled 2 1s. That's where I'm putting them. Alright, so that was the rolling the dice. Now the next part, the lead player, also me again, is going to mark off time. So you take the same value that is on the bottom here, in this case a 4, and you cross off 4 bubbles on your time track. So I got these first 4 crossed off. Now's the point when I get to make some decisions. So starting with the lead player again, you may take a dice from the dice ladder. So which one do I want? I'm going to start by taking the 4. Sounds great. Nice and meaty 4. And with that, I'm going to be able to spend my dice on my actions. So I'm going to take the 4. Player 2 is going to take the 1, and player 3 will also take the 1. Now, let's return this to our original orientation here. You'll notice we have our die values here, 4s and 1s, but we also, on the side of the ladder here, have these numbers here. This is the publicity points that you earn. So not only am I going to take 4 dice, or 4 action points with my dice, but I'm earning 0 publicity for doing so. So I'll tell you how publicity affects your game in a minute, but just know that publicity is good for you. So I'm taking a great dice, but I'm not earning publicity. That's kind of the trade-off. Whereas player 2 and player 3, both taking 1, are earning 3 publicity, so they get to cross off 3 of their publicity bubbles here. 1, 2, 3. That's good for them. Now, what do I do with my dice? With this 4 from a die, I get to pick a spot on my player board on one of these 4 main actions, and I get to fill in the first 4 bubbles from left to right. So I can pick any horizontal line here. So I got these 4 within this action. I got these 2 lines here, 4 lines here, 1 line here. I can pick any of these rows, any of these horizontal lines, but I have to follow 3 rules. I've got to go left to right from the first available bubble, so I couldn't start in the middle of a line here. I'd have to start all the way on the line. I also have to, I can't split my die value up between lines, so I couldn't put 2 of them here and 2 of them here. All 4 have to be on the same line. And the last one, I cannot pick an action that has been blocked. So you notice we got these block tokens. If I have my research actions blocked, obviously this turn I cannot do any action from here. I'd have to pick one from design, material improvements, or training. So on the first round though, nobody has any actions blocked, so I am free to put this 4 wherever I like. So let's say I'm going to put it, let's say we'll put it right here in the design under the stability row. I have the first, second, third, fourth bubble crossed off. Now I'll pull this up so you can see it a little better. You'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4. My last bubble that I crossed off, kind of a darkened or a double bubble, target bubble if you will. If your last bubble that you cross off in a line for each round is one of these darkened bubbles, that means you just earned yourself a whistle. Now these whistles are great. They're going to help you train some of the other farm animals. We've got cats, cows, goose, sheep, chicken, horse. I don't know why I pointed that over here for the sheep, but we got a dog, rat. So since I did cross off this one as my last one, I'm going to circle and whistle. That means I've earned the whistle later to spend on a farm animal. Now, let's say I had gone, not a good example of this here, but let's say I had a 5 and I crossed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to earn 2 whistles, even though I crossed off 2 bubbles, 2 dark bubbles. You only earn a whistle if the very last bubble that you lands on is a darker bubble. So you can only ever earn 1 whistle per round. Got that? So just earned myself a whistle, and I improved my design for stability. Alright, so after everybody's taken their action, or even whenever, if you're waiting for somebody, you can do this, we move our blocked token to the action that I took. So since I took a design action this turn, I'm moving my blocked token to the design section. That means next round, I cannot do a design action. I have to pick research, training, or materials. But then, after I do that, obviously this blocked token is going to move to whatever I take. So the following round, I could come back to design. Basically, you can't ever do the same action 2 rounds in a row. Alright, so everybody's taking their action. I'm not going to really play out player 2 and player 3's here. And now we pass the lead player token. Player 2 will be lead player, and we begin another round. So, player 2's rolling the die. We got a 5, it's the biggest number, 4, and we have 3's, 2's, and 1 here. So, now player 2 gets to mark off 5 time on the time track. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, player 2 gets to pick first. We're going to go with the 4, which means they just earned 1 publicity point. Player 3 will perhaps take 5, which means they didn't earn any. That leaves me with the 1, and that gives me 4 publicity points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got that? So now we're going to keep repeating the same steps each round, and I'll kind of run through things a little quicker and explain the rules as they come up. So I got 1. Where am I going to put my 1? Well, I know it's good to earn whistles, but what do these actions actually do? What do they get me? Well, I'm glad you asked that. So, you spend your action points on research. If you ever cross into this section here, the Discover section, you're going to peek at one of these cards, depending on which row you used. And doing that is going to help you figure out exactly what makes flight work. So there's 4 main theories. We got speed, lift, aerodynamics, and stability. Everybody knows they all contribute in some way to flight, but nobody knows exactly in what ratios of the proper mix. So we're going to be trying to research that. And depending on what you find out here, it's going to probably inform your decisions in design, because you want to design a plane. If you know aerodynamics is key, you want to design your aerodynamics to be awesome. So your research generally informs what you do in the design section. Now training, you can have the best craft in the world to fly, but if you don't have a good pilot, that's not going to go very far. So we've got to train our pig in order to fly. For now, just know that the fear section, you're training the pig not to be afraid of flying through the air. And the maneuver section, you're training him how to maneuver through the air and kind of avoid the clouds, how to steer, etc. Material improvements, we are working to make our craft as light as possible to go as far as possible. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to start off by spending this 1. So you know we want whistles. I'm going to maybe go here with my speed. Cross off that 1. So since that was my last bubble, even though there's only 1, that was my last one, I earned myself a whistle. Alright. My turn is over. I move my block token to research, and that is it. The round is done. Lead player moves to player 3, and we continue. Alright, they got a 5, a 3, and a 1. Goes like this, and they cross off 5 times. And player 3 decides to take the 1. Gets 4 publicity for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. I will take the. I think I'll take the 3. Get 2 publicity for that. And player 2 takes 5. Gets no publicity for that. All right. What am I going to do with my 3? I think I'm going to improve my maneuvers here. 1, 2, 3. Just ended on another dark circle. So now I have 1, 2, 3 whistles circled. I'm in the realm of being able to train some of these animals. So let's see, maybe I want to do this. I think for now I'm going to train my goose. So what do I do if I want to train an animal? I'll move this up here so you can see. When you want to train an animal, you spend the number that they cost. So this is the cost of the animal. This goose costs 2 whistles. Let's see if we can get that even closer. 2 whistles for the goose. So I'm going to cross off 2 of my whistles, and then I circle the goose. And for the goose, in the finalized design project, I get +1 to my weight class. That's good for the flight contest. You probably don't know why yet, but just trust me, it's good. So I'm crossing off 2 whistles, circle my goose. Alright, next round. Lead player comes to me, and don't forget to move your block token. I'll probably forget that at some point. Just make sure you remind me. Alright, we got a 6 and 2 ones. Wow, that's an interesting choice. So first thing, mark off time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lead player. I'm going to take the 6. And these guys get 1s, so I get 0 publicity, and they both get 5 publicity. That maybe was not the right move. I just crossed off. I think that was 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe not the right move at this stage of the game, and I'll show you why. So, what am I going to do with my 6? I want to really figure out flight. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do aerodynamics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Earns me a target level, whistle, and that's the end of my turn. Move the block. Lead player passes. On to the next round. Actually, wow, I am moving so fast. So I crossed this dotted line into the discover stage for aerodynamics. So what happens now? I take the aerodynamics and I don't show anybody this. I can peek at it, so then you can be in on the secret too. What we have here is a 5. Sorry, this is an older prototype card. It used to be a 3. It's actually a 5. So with this 5, that's really lucky actually for me. That means aerodynamics is super hot, super awesome. We want to design aerodynamics for our plane. So I don't show anybody that. And if you don't think you're going to remember that, you can go ahead and write this on your scorecard here. Everybody has a scorecard. We have speed, lift, aerodynamics, and stability. I'm going to write a 5 here for the aerodynamics flight multiplier. And I might flip this over to the side so nobody can see it. Now you might notice here we have a ×1, ×2, ×4, and 5. So that's what the other cards are. We know aerodynamics is a 5. These other 3 are either 1, 2, or a 4. Some of these. But the biggest number is going to be the most important to play. So, and I've already got that figured out. So I probably got a leg up on the competition. Alright, so back to where I was before I interrupted myself. Starting the next round, player 2 is lead player. We have a 5, a 4, and a 3. Now they cross off 5 for the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll notice here, I'm going to do this while lifting the cards. I just crossed off a gray bubble there on the time turn. Now, anytime you cross off these first two gray bubbles, that means we are going to go to a publicity event. You see those arrows coming in there. So we pause the game. As soon as that bubble's crossed off, we do a publicity event. So how a publicity event works, the first thing we do is determine who has the most publicity points at the moment. And this is why I said it might not have been super good for me to let those ones go the last round. I just killed myself for publicity points. So who's got the most? Looks like player 3 has 6, or is up on this first 6 bubble here. Player 2 is on that second 4. I'm way down on the first 3. So player 3 has the most. Player 2 is in the middle. I have the least. So the player with the most is going to score full points for their current design. Player with the least scores 0. So I'll show this how this would work had I had the most. If I had the most publicity points, we're going to look at our design section here. And currently the only thing I have designed is a little bit of stability, these first 4 bubbles. The stability is in this section, which is stage number 2 here. So, if you look down, stage 2 I earned 3 stars. I don't know if you can see that, it's a 3. Everything else I have not designed anything, so I'm in stage 0, which is 0 points. So if I did have the most publicity points, I would have earned 3 stars, 3 points. And I write that on my scoring card. Publicity event 1, I would have written 3. But since I had the least, and I foolishly let everybody else get their publicity points, I get 0. Now, if I was in the middle, like player 2 is right now, you score half points for your design, rounded down. It's worth noting in a 2-player game, you can see this little cross out of the 2P bubble here. In a 2-player game, you do not score least, so there will be one player scoring the most and one player scoring half points, not 0. Alright, so that was a publicity event. Everybody got some points except me. That's unfortunate, and we'll continue on. Alright, so we had a 5, 4, and a 3. Player 2 marked out the time. Player 2 is going to take 3, I think. Player 3 is taking 5, and I will take 4, which gets me 1 publicity point. So what will I do with 4? Well, I know now that aerodynamics is pretty high, so I'm going to start going for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I didn't, for the first time, end my turn on one of those cool double bubbles, so I do not earn a whistle this time. I still have 2 left to spend here. These 2 I've already spent on my boots. Alright, blocked, new pair, player moves, and keep going. So, I'm going to kind of speed through the rest of these rounds here a bit, just so we can get to the fight contest, and you're not bored of hearing me talk. So, got 2 6s and a 5. That's just cross out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Player 3. Take the 6. I think I will take the 5 here, which will help me get another target bubble there. The 5 earns me 1 publicity, and I will do material improvements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Earns me a whistle. I now have 3 available. I think I will train my chicken with 3 whistles. So how the chicken works here, it says you can spend question number of whistles. So I'm going to spend 3. That means so question means you can spend any number, 1 to 10, whatever you got. So I'm going to spend 3, so I'll write 3 in the box here. And that means when I want to, if I do a pig training action here, I can add those 3 to that action. So I'll write that in. on that box and cross off the whistles that I spent. Alright. Black token slides. I become the lead player. 5, a 2, and a 1. So cross off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I will take, this is good. I will take a 2. And player 2 will take the 1. And so the 2 gets me 3 publicity. 1, 2, 3. The 1 gets 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 gets that player. So with my 2, I'm going to show you what happens here. I am going to finish off the aerodynamics here. I have 2 bubbles left, so I'll do 1, 2 there. And now you'll notice I just crossed into the publish section here. So if you cross, so I've already discovered that aerodynamics is really great. And perhaps this early in the game, this may not have been a wise move, but I'm doing it for the sake of the video. So, crossed into publish. That means I'm publishing the theory of aerodynamics. I flip the card over. Now everybody can see that aerodynamics is times 5. They know that's what we want to go for. Now, that's not really great for me because I'm leveling the playing field, losing the advantage that I already gained. But now I do score points for publishing. So, I look at my current publicity level here, and I'm at 5 publicity. So that means I just scored myself 5 points. So I'll write 5 in this box, and at the end of the game, I just scored 5 points for that. So that's good for me. Alright, so I did that. Move my block token. Next round, we got 3, 1, and 1. So got 1, 2, 3 off. Just missed that next gray level. So that means next round, the last publicity event. 3. So they're going to take a 1 and earn 2. And now player 3 knows that I'm close behind their heels for publicity. So they're taking that 1 just to solidify that. And leave me in the dust yet again for the publicity event. I haven't been really thinking about publicity that much this game. So I get 3, but perhaps that means I'm going to have way cooler stuff. I once again know that aerodynamics is great, but I think I gotta start training my pig a little bit. So I'm gonna cross. No, I will do aerodynamics. 1, 2, 3. Brings me another whistle because I ended on a double bubble. Double bubble, double bubble. All right, here we go. Next round, lead player. 5, 2, and 1, and we cross off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just hit the next publicity event. And once again, we do the same scoring. Looks like player 2 has the most publicity over here. Then player 3, and then me once again last. So, once again, I just scored 0. Not helping my cause at all. So, player 3 will now take the 5, since it's safe, and they're not worried about publicity at the moment. I will take a 2. I'll take 1. So I'm going to spend 2 here. Do my block token. I ended on a target bubble for fear training. I'm just racking up the whistles this game. Alright. I think that's it. I'm lead player. Got 4, 1, and 1. Cross off 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice we're almost to the end of the time track here. That means the contest prep phase is just about done. So, I'm going to take the 1. Gets me 3 publicity. 1, 2, 3. I'll do 1 here. 2, 3, 4 here. So, with my 1, I am crossing into stage 3 for aerodynamics. That's great, because we know that aerodynamics is the bomb, so we are maximizing our investment there. Okay, new player passes. Oop. Oh, this is interesting. You got a 1, a 1, and a 1. Now, anytime that all of the dice the same value, you re-roll, because you can't. We've got to have some interest in the decisions here. So, if even like you had 6 players, 5 of the dice are one value and 1 is another, that's okay. But anytime all the dice are the same value, in this case 3 1s, we re-roll all the dice. So 1 and 1 and 6, that is definitely different. So 6, cross off the time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 1 bubble left. That means we'll have another round after this. So they're taking the 6, probably going for their aerodynamics because they know it's awesome. Leaves a 1 for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, put my 1. I forgot to move that. Or did I? Yeah, I did that last time. Okay, so I'll put my 1. I know the contest is about to end, and my pig is still nasty in terms of maybe that's not the right word. My pig is very afraid. So I'm going to try to invest in the spear. So I only have 1 to spend here, but now look, I have this chicken that I am able to add 3 to. So I'm going to do that. So instead of just 1, I'm going to add 1 plus 3 is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for that pig's training. And then I got to cross off my chicken. Alright. Now that means I can't train my pig this round. Got 6, a 3 and a 3. Now, crossing off time, this is the last bubble. That means this is the last round. After this round's done, we proceed. So, this player is going to take the 6 probably. I'll take a 3. 3. Brings both of us 3 publicity. And with that, I think I will improve my materials. 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. Alright. Move the block token. Doesn't really matter. So now, this is the end of the round. At this point, we are now moving into the Finalize design phase. So this is a little bit of bookkeeping here. So we're going to see how all our hard work's paid off. First thing we do is flip over all the theory cards where they were. So everybody knows all of the theory cards. And we can write that in on our formula card. So speed is times 4, lift is times 1. We already know aerodynamics is 5, and then stability is times 2. Alright, so we got that down. Next we write our current design stage number in these boxes here. So, like I showed you before, for aerodynamics, I made it to stage 3. That's great. Stage 2 for stability. So you look at the stage number up top here. So 3 and 2 for aerodynamics and stability. Still never did anything in speed and lift, so those are at 0. So what I'm going to write is 0, 0, 3, 2 on my formula card. 0, 0, 3, 2. Now you multiply these across. 4 times 0, 0. That's terribly unfortunate. 1 times 0 is also 0. 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 2 is 4. So, now I add down the line here. We've got 19. 15 plus 4 is 19. And you subtract the weight. So my weight is the top line of my material improvements. So my last bubble is right under this 5 here. So I'm going to 5 ends up being my total weight. 5 goes here. 19 minus 5 is 14. I can math. Awesome. Flight distance of 14, that is somewhat respectable, but not really. So what we do, you take that flight distance, you flip over your sheet, and you write that in this first box here. We're getting ready for the flight contest. Now, number 2, we also need maneuvers, fear, and weight class. So we're going to transfer those from our front. So our maneuvers, for me, I ended on a 5 here. Fear, I ended in the 2 cloud section, so 5 for maneuvers, 2 for fear. And weight class, I ended at 2. Don't forget, I had my goose, so I'm adding +1 to my weight class. So instead of 2, I have 3. So 5 maneuvers, 2 clouds, 3 weight class. 5 maneuvers, 2 clouds, 3 weight class. In these boxes. Alright, now the last and most important part of the finalized design phase is the design sketch. So we have a little box here. We're going to play a little Pictionary. You get to draw your craft that you just designed. So for me, we'll go back to the front again. You check your stage number, so stage 0. For speed, I have springs. Lift, I have a feather. In stage 3 here, I have a nose cap and tail fin for aerodynamics. And then stage 2, I have rods for stability. So reinforced steel rods or something. So I take those 4 parts, springs, feathers, nose cap, and rods, and I am going to draw a craft using my wonderful imagination. Hopefully it looks somewhat okay, using those things. Springs, feather, nose cap, and rods. So, let's see, we got some springs. With feathers, let's see, not that hurt. Well, we'll do our nose cap, like an airplane, and tail fin. Pardon my falling drawing skills, but that's partly what I think makes this game fun. Let's do some feathers. Yeah, and then some, let's see, some rods to tie it all together. Just gonna reinforce it this way. And that's my flying craft. Now, bonus points if you draw your pig. So we're gonna draw him sitting on the front here. He's just hanging out. He doesn't really know what he's doing. But he's certainly kind of happy to be there. Alright? Now, obviously this actually doesn't matter at all to the mechanics of the game, but I feel it is a nice touch. So, got my design. We are ready for the flight contest. We have finalized design phase. Now it's flight contest. First thing we do, our flight distance is 14 for me. And let's maybe zoom in here a little bit so you can see a little better. Alright, 14. Actually, sorry, we don't circle that. What we do is we draw a straight line from the start point up here to the 14 down here. And this is where you might need a straight edge. I would highly recommend it. So, start line to 14. So you draw a line. It might actually be a little less confusing if you make that a dotted line, but for now, that's fine. So I got my maximum flight line. Now this line is a line that I cannot fly above or to the right of. So all my flying is going to have to be under here. So you can tell I obviously made a few mistakes already in the beginning part of the game. Otherwise I could be maybe flying all the way over here. But that's okay, we'll have lots of fun doing this. So now we mark our flight segment boxes with our maneuverability. And maneuvers was also rather paltry. I have a 5 here. And what you do with this number, you count, starting with this first empty box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in my case, and you'll draw an X there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you draw another X. 1, 2, 3, and we're off the map. So that's fine. Now, if I had a better flight or better maneuverability, I'd be doing like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1 or 2, which is awesome. But my pig doesn't know how to steer, so he's going to do what he can. Alright, so now we get to fly. So you fly your craft to the next segment line. That's these ones we marked with the X's. So I'm going to start here at the top left and fly to some point on this line here. Now I already said you can't go above this, above your max flight, so I can't connect up here. I have to connect somewhere right here. It doesn't leave me much option here. So let's see, where do I want to go? Well, what's going to inform your decisions is you don't want to hit clouds unless you've trained your pig not to be afraid of them. So I can hit at the maximum 2 clouds. That's my fear value here. So what we're going to do, I think we're going to basically kind of follow the line here. Draw this. Woohoo! Wow, that was just right. So let's see. Now we'll check number 4. We're going to circle the wind and the clouds that we just flew through and check for crashes. So I did fly through this cloud here. Circle that. See, my line just barely missed the tip of that cloud. I did fly through this one, and then I flew through this wind symbol here. Now the wind is good. The wind is good, so I'll show you how that works in a minute. And I flew through 2 clouds. That's my maximum. I'm okay at 2, but if I ever fly through another cloud, I'm going to crash. That's stinky. So now number 5, we'll repeat number 3 and 4. So we fly the craft to our next segment line. Our next segment line is way over here. Now, like I said, you can't go past your max flight line. So since we actually can't go past this line, we are forced to connect from where we ended on this segment line right here to this point where our maximum flight is. So we'll draw this line, and we basically just flew our max flight line there. Now, once again, I check for clouds and winds. I flew through this cloud, and that is my 3rd cloud. So that means I am going to crash, since that is higher than my fear value. So what you can do is you draw a straight line from the end of the cloud that you crashed down, and this is where you hit the ground, this point right here. So it's a little unfortunate, but in reality, I almost made it as far as I could have with my plane anyway. So I'm sitting here right around the 13 mark. This is 13 here. Now, if I hadn't have crashed and my maximum flight line would have allowed it, I would have gone further. That would have been great, but I did. So now, once you've landed, we'll do number 6. 6 says adjust for wind, which is any circled wind symbols that you have times your weight class. So I did end up circling 1 wind here. So 1 wind times 3 is 3. 1 times 3. And what I do, I ended it right in the 13 realm here. So 13 plus 3, I go 13, 14, 15, 16. And this is my final resting place. Somewhere along the line, I hit a gust of wind that really helped since I had a great weight class. Boosted me to 16. So now, where your final resting place is, you circle the number below that, and that is your final number for the contest. That number becomes the points that you earn in the contest. Alright, so that was the entire flight contest. Mine was kind of a straight one, but if my maneuverability had been better, If instead of a 5 I had done a 3 or 2, I'd be able to do a lot more zigzagging around clouds and trying to hit the wind. Or if my maximum flight line had been way down here, I would have had better angles to work with, etc. So, you can kind of see how that works, but in any case, I earned 16 points. So, oops, sorry about that. What I do is I write 16 right here, flight contest, and we're into the final scoring. So the game's over, everybody's done everything they can, and we just score our points. So we got publicity events, flight contest. Now this next one, this is an older scorecard. This is actually just final publicity level. Sorry about that. Final publicity level, we'll check our front here. I ended actually rather decently at 11, although it didn't show it most of the game. So right in 11. Then points from publishing or endorsing, I got 5, and I didn't mention if somebody had later on come and wanted to also publish aerodynamics after I had done it, they could endorse my theory, which basically means they would have gotten half the points that they normally would have for publishing. So in any case, whatever numbers you wrote down in this box is what you score here. I got 5. 2 points per discovery. So even though I got points for publishing it, I also get points for discovering research. So any of the theories that you made into this section get 2 points for. So I got 2 points for that. And your final design value, once again, stage 0s for speed and lift gets me 0 points, but stage 3 for aerodynamics gets me 6, stage 2 for stability gets me 3, so 6 plus 3 is 9 points for my final design. Doggy points here is any points you use to train your dog, which actually I'm going to go ahead and retroactively do. I don't have any problem with anybody doing that if they forget to have extra whistles. Usually you want to throw it on the dog. Let's just say I used my last 2 whistles to train the dog, so I get 2 points for the doggy. And then we do bonus awards. That's the last thing. Promise. So we have 5 endgame bonuses. The person who did the most fear training is the fearless. Lion Ace is for whoever did the most maneuvers. Famous Farmer for the most publicity. Featherweight for most material improvements. And Furthest Flight for the farthest in the flight contest. So I know I didn't win that one. Looking at the publicity, I didn't win most publicity, but I did do pretty well with my material improvements. I think I definitely beat the others in that, so we'll just say, seeing as I didn't actually play the other 2 players, we'll say I got most material improvements, 5 for that, and all the other ones I didn't win. In the end, I have 16 plus 11 is 27, 32, 34, 43, 45, plus 5 is 50 total points. That's my final score. And one last look at my beautiful design. Really doesn't look like it would do very well, so I'm not surprised it only made it that far. So, in any case, that is how you play When Pigs Shall Fly. Sorry it was so long, but I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them on the Works in Progress thread I have going on BoardGameGeek's website. And yeah, hope to hear your feedback. Tell me how I can improve. And please don't comment on the quality of this video. I know my equipment isn't high-tech at the moment, so no comments on the video quality. Just kidding. You can say whatever. Alright, thanks. Bye.